In the past year, personally, I participated in more military-related interactions than I can count. Meetings, planning sessions, tabletop exercises, reviews of arms sales. They've been in Washington, at the Pacific Command headquarters in Honolulu, other locations around the U.S. We don't talk about that too much. We don't talk publicly about the depth and breadth of our military relationship. It's because we're being discreet about it. But sometimes I think we pay a price for discretion because then you don't know about it. And people don't know how deep and how important that relationship is. Economic relations. Quick figures. Taiwan is the 10th largest trading partner of the United States, ahead of Italy and India. For the U.S. big market, $62 billion a year and growing. It's gone up. U.S. exports to Taiwan have actually grown quite well in the last 3 years. Taiwan's 6th largest market for U.S. agricultural goods. Some of you heard me 4 years ago, but you probably forgot the bad joke, but I like to say that the Taiwanese per capita use more agricultural goods from the U.S. than any other country in the world, except for any other market in the world except for Canada, which means that the people in Taiwan eat, drink, wear, and smoke more U.S. agricultural products per person than anyone else in the world. I was criticized by some of my colleagues for using the smoke part, but I pointed out that the numbers don't add up otherwise. A lot of tobacco goes to Taiwan from the Carolinas and Virginia. So. Taiwan is a big investor, U.S. big investor in Taiwan, actually still the biggest investor, cumulative investment about $22 billion. And then something that's now a focus of our attention, we're trying to get more foreign investment into the United States. Taiwan investment in the U.S. today stands at about $5 billion. I know there's a big Formosa plastics factory in Texas, for example. We'd like to see that grow. And actually Taiwan, the Commerce Department this year has identified Taiwan as one of the sort of 15 priority economies in the world where we'll be actively sort of promoting inbound investment by investors into the United States. So if you know any projects in the San Francisco area that deserve Taiwan investment, you should, that can get counted as going toward that goal. As you probably know, Taiwan-U.S. trade relations have been a bit stalled for a few years. We've had this problem over beef. I know we didn't have any beef here tonight, no U.S. beef tonight, but anyway, it was good fish. But U.S. policymakers in Washington, particularly our Congress, the head of the Finance Committee in the Senate, Senator Baucus, who comes from the great state of Montana. I've been there. There are a lot of cows there. And so they're not only the congressmen, but lots of ranchers, lots of meat processors, very unhappy for many years about policies in Taiwan that were keeping U.S. beef out of the American market. So we think President Ma, mind you, demonstrated considerable courage last September when he resolved the problem, decided to adopt internationally accepted, scientifically based standards for imported beef, and that decision reopened Taiwan's market to U.S. beef. And the resolution of this beef issue, which we were all actually quite tired of, will make possible the resumption early this year, of the U.S.-Taiwan meetings of what we call our Council on Trade and Investment, which is set up under our 1994 Trade and Investment Agreement, the TIFA agreement. But because of the beef issue, we had not had these TIFA council meetings, which are at the deputy minister level. The deputy head of the U.S. Trade Representative Office meets with the deputy minister of economics in Taiwan. We haven't had them since 2007, so it's very overdue. Now, most recent trade press attention on trade issues between the U.S. and Taiwan, I have noticed, sort of focuses on the beef issue and whether it's totally solved. When is the next TIFA Council going to be held? But as I was looking into the relationship, there's a lot of stuff that goes on. Even during the years we weren't having these high-level meetings, there are lots of agreements that get signed, lots of things that get done. The trouble is most of them, and the ones I found, they're not very glamorous, they're not very sexy. But some of them, if you did a separate article on them, they would definitely, people's eyes would glaze over. But for the industries that are affected, these things are important. These are, and maybe for some of you in this room, they're your industries you're in. So I'm just going to mention a few of these. I'll not too many, just a few, just to give you an idea of the kind of stuff that is sort of the nuts and bolts of U.S.-Taiwan relations every day. Just a couple weeks ago, we signed an agreement between our two customs services, U.S. and Taiwan Customs Service, so that we can work together to prevent terrorist acts that could affect global supply chains, production chains. Our environmental protective agencies, U.S. and Taiwan, also have a new agreement on bilateral cooperation. The U.S. Nuclear Security Administration and Taiwan's Atomic Energy Commission reached an agreement just also in the last year, and they're working together on dealing with nuclear accidents, how we would deal with them together, and how there would be an emergency response. Our aviation administrations now have new cooperation on technical aviation safety and cooperation. Our NOAA, the National Oceanographic and Atmospheric Administration of the U.S., and Taiwan Central Weather Bureau are now cooperating to launch satellites to monitor hazardous weather conditions. And finally, our patent offices are now begun a new system so that when we issue patents in one country, they are also issued in the other country. I could go on. There's a lot of stuff. The stuff between our Centers for Disease Control, cooperation on fisheries management, and helping Taiwan to get better representation in international fisheries organizations. This is all, for the people, the industries involved, it's important stuff and it adds up to a lot of interaction. You get the idea. This is a rich relationship. Interactions of businesses, of church groups, of private organizations. Most of this, half of this stuff goes on without the governments even knowing about it, which is true of any really good relationship. It just has its own energy, it has its own constituents, its own people who are involved with it. Every imaginable sector of the two societies. And I would say one of the things that I see in this, and the years I've been working on Taiwan, and I remember I also spent a lot of time in the mainland. I spent 4 years, 2 years in Beijing, 2 years in Shanghai. So I see the difference in what it's like for business people to work in Taiwan or to work on the other side of the strait. In Taiwan, Americans like working in Taiwan. It's easy in one sense. It's easy in the sense that unlike the other place, your Taiwan local business partner is probably not going to steal your technology. The local government agencies you deal with are probably not going to pressure you to hand over your technology. The government in Taiwan is probably not going to hack into your central computer systems. When your people visit the country, you're probably not going to have their safe broken into and their laptop looked at in the room. And we haven't had a major intellectual property issue in Taiwan for years. So it's a great place to do business. There's a lot of problems you don't have. We have problems, we have issues. When we get trade talks going, we're going to want to have the market open more. We're going to have we do have problems. We do have market access issues for pharmaceuticals, for retail distribution rights, for financial services. These are important issues, important for certain American sectors. We're going to want to talk about it. But we'll talk about them, and we'll deal with each other in a civil way, and we'll probably get them resolved. Finally,